to touch base with everybody today on another great topic of lead generating and business generation. And that one thing I love about this topic is that a lot of my coaching clients are having some tremendous success in this area of geographic farming. The new sexy, politically correct terminology for it is hyperlocalism. So I thought I'd throw that line in there. So hyperlocalism is basically the new word for real estate geographic farming. And basically, we're going to cover how to do it, what to do it, but there's an evolution that's taking place in the geographic farm area, and we're finding that switching it up just a little bit and tweaking it a little bit is even getting us better results than we found doing the old way of geographic farming and hyperlocalism. So I'm excited to share you with what some of the coaching clients of mine are doing and what their experience and the success they're having in marketplaces all over North America. So without further ado, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this particular farming process. So obviously we're not talking about cows, chickens, roosters, things like that. We're talking about an agent deciding to be an expert in one particular geographic segment. So you could be an expert in a type of client, a type of property, a type of area, development, building. You can choose your niche market and you can choose that area. Why I think it's so important is that I believe that, and I know this to be true, that people are looking for agents that are experts at something, because we're all marketing as experts and good at everything, and that's just not possible. So I know this to be true is that if you look at an agent's business card, they have all these different things that I'm residential, relocation, buyer focus, this and that, and you have all these designations, and people are like, okay, instead of where they're looking for is an expert that's an expert in one specific segment and niche, and that expertise sets us apart from every other agent that's out there in the marketplace that's saying that, hey, I'm average or just like everybody else in all these other areas, instead of being an expert at something, if that makes sense to everybody in the call here. So you're looking at that geographic segment, you're looking at being that expert, you're looking at focusing and potentially being the go-to person for that type of product, person, area, demographic, and that, and meeting their needs and focusing on it and creating that perception. Okay, so what is it, and how do we do that? And how do we become that? So we want to become that expert in a small geographic niche. Being an expert and being in a small niche is better than being like every other agent. We're connecting and building, deepening relationships with the people, the persons, the residences, the people that are around, the amenities, the businesses, the services, then that around that geographic farm area, not just thinking P2P, person to person, but also thinking B2B and businesses and service providers and public services around that geographic niche and that farm, if that makes sense. Then we're sharing the expertise, knowledge, and the specific strategic data and statistics about that niche and about that demographic and about that farm area, and providing them with that thorough, intense information, and I'll share you what that information is, okay? And then you knowing the trends of that specific area, and you knowing the trends of the area, the clients, the property types there, and you sharing those trends and what's happening and what's trending in that, and becoming that expert. And your focused marketing strategy is on that demographic, on that property, on that neighborhood, on that complex, on that price range, or on that buyer or seller, and you stay the course. You stay focused and you become over time. Now, repeat, over time. This will take realistically 8 to 12 months until you perceptually become that niche and that expert in that area of expertise. Any questions or thoughts or anything right now? Or are we good?
That's good.
We're good?
Good. Go ahead.
All right.
Yep.
So why it's a benefit, why I like this segment, why am I sharing you with this strategy today? There's low startup costs in this farm area and this expertise of marketing and that. There's little competition. Most agents want to be all things to all people. I'm telling you to be the expert and be the person to the people of that demographic, okay? It builds confidence in the prospects and the people out there. It builds confidence in you and your knowledge and expertise. There's referrals that come from this and being that expert. There's expertise perception of you being excellent at something rather than average or good at everything like every other realtor. It creates leads, it creates generation, it creates spin, it creates momentum when you're an expert and you're niching in that. And also you build your community and you build relationships and community under that umbrella. And that to me is the key to it, the benefits to us in that perspective. And not like if you look at it, a lot of top producers in our industry are farming in one shape or form. For example, it could be one person that is in a small rural community, or one person in a specific building, or one person using their sphere or their database. Like, for example, one of the top producers in my office used to be a pastor, and obviously he's using his connections and his relationships in his church now into the real estate business and that. And so that's a geographic farm in essence in that, okay? So there's different ways, shapes, and forms of creating now, am I telling you to go and solicit and work off of everybody in your church? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there are agents that have built their expertise and their perception and their geographic farm within what they did for a pastor, what they did for a living, okay? So there are 7 styles of real estate professionals, and you're one of these 7 or a combination. So there's the hunter realtor, the agent that aggressively loves to hunt and loves and gets excited about finding someone who wants to buy and sell. Those are the hunters in the world. That's me. I love it. I'm sure Jamil and other people in the room would be hunters in that. There's farmers. There's the agents that are going to take their time. They're going to build relationships. They're going to work their sphere and referral, repeat business, and only be on the relation side of things. They're not excited about the hunt. What they're excited about is the connection and the relationship they have. It's great. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with these styles. There's the networker. It's the agent that's always in the relational out there. They're out and about, and they're volunteering, and they're in clubs and charities and schools and PACs and churches and things like that. And they're networkers, and they love it and build their business that way. Then there's the lifestyle agent, the agent that works within a tribe. They ride their tribe's Harley riders, or their tribe's wakeboarders, or their tribe is different lifestyle kind of things and that, and they use that to build their real estate professional through lifestyle. There's the experts in that, the agents that focus on a niche like we're talking about today. There's hyperlocalists that immerse themselves in a small market segment, which we're also talking about today. And then there's the ego, Showtime, Hollywood, billboard type of agents that they're the super lead generators, hypers. They're all over the bus benches, the billboards, all that ego stuff and that. And those are just what we find are the 7 styles of real estate professionals. There's nothing wrong with one or the other. It just, you have to ask yourself, which one am I? And which one resonates with who I am as a person, and what style works for me in my business model. That. So today we're talking about that expert style one, or that hunter style one, or that hyper localist. That's the ones who we're talking about, those styles today as real estate professionals on this journey today. So dominating with it. This is a listing focused activity, listing focused. NAR reports that 80% of sellers don't list their home again with another agent. Why? The reason for it is that the persons don't stay in touch. The agent doesn't stay in touch. So that means that in a geographic farm, guys, 4 out of 5 would use their same agent, but don't use their same agent again, and they're going to switch up. And we're hoping to use that average and that 4 out of 5, that statistic, that to build my farm and to build my geographic farm area, okay? And so they will choose an agent on their perceived expertise and knowledge in the area or in the geographic demographic that they're in. That's what sways them. That's what changes them. We've been doing this for years and years and years, is that we don't spend the time, energy, money, and effort keeping them as we do getting them, hence why this works. Hence why there's an opportunity out there, because the consumers, 4 out of 5 of them are going to change and switch. And I'm hoping that they're going to change to me, who is the expert and has that expert knowledge and that perception with those 4 out of 5 people. Okay, that's our focus, and that's our methodology and our madness behind why we create these. Couple of agents here. A lady at Connie Barnes here did $48 million in business in the El Dorado County, California area. Again, just focusing on video and community content within her geographic farm. Another gentleman here just focusing on the city center in his market and city center condos and focusing on that niche. And that these people are having tremendous success and have niched themselves and focused on ways and means of that generate them and create that expertise, that perception, and they're doing it differently than other agents, okay? And these are just some of the success stories that I found in my own coaching clients as well. Okay, so where do I begin, Wade, and how do I get started? So first things first, you're going to go into your MLS systems, or you're going to talk to your managers, or you're going to talk to your local county boards or wherever. You're going to look where the data is. And I'm wanting you to start by looking at turnover, turnover, turnover. Your decision needs to be based on turnover, on math, you guys. So what I'm looking for is you're trying to find a geographic farm, a segment, where there is more than 6% annual turnover rate. So let me explain how to do the math. If there are 100 people in the building and we need more than 6% turnover rate annually, there needs to be at least minimum of 6 people moving every year in that specific unit or that specific complex or that specific neighborhood for the numbers to make sense. The reason why you get this is that you don't want to choose a geographic farm where no one's buying and no one's selling and no one's moving, because that's not the area you want to do it. You need to have turnover. You need to have transition, okay? So what I want you to do is to explore and research and do some groundwork and checking and figuring out, okay, how many residents there are in this particular geo farm area that I'm interested in, and what was the annual turnover rate the last number of years, and is it more than 6%? That's where we're going to start. We're going to do some research, and we're going to start and look at the math and look at the turnover rate. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, you're looking for double-digit turnover rates, 10%, 20% annual turnover rates. Those are the best places to start where there's a geographic farm. Does that make sense to everybody? So I'm thinking 6 is too low. I'm looking for 10 to 20%. They exist. They're out there. You just got to look at the numbers, look at the math, and do the research and find those numbers, okay? All right, so top brands, top companies, right? You look at it and you have your own presence in that. So what we're looking for is that you're trying to drive the market and trying to find the community and trying to find that sub area where you want to drive your farm and not be an expert at places where people are not going to go unless they're going out feet first. Okay, so determine the number of residences that you're comfortable with. I would say a single agent would not want to do a geographic farm area any greater than, I'm going to say, 1,000 to 1,200 residences. Just being honest, that seems to be the most manageable number, and it doesn't need to be up to that amount, but I would say that's the max capacity. Would be the number of residents in a geographic farm would be about a 1,200 mark, and then you're looking for turnover rate, and stay away from those farm areas that are difficult to access when you're trying to get marketing materials into them. Okay. And so that's the tough one, is locked, secure it up, high security, high communities and that are difficult to access, and that those ones I would tend to stay away from. And also I'd look at what product, what price point, what demographic is driving your marketplaces. That would help you make a decision on your geographic farm. Okay, so look at turnover rate, look at your research, take the time. Max 1,200 in a farm area at one time, and stay away from places that are difficult to access for the marketing purposes of that. Any questions on where to start and with the selection process and investigating, researching in that? Any questions on that part? We're good?
Nope.
All right. Excellent. Yep. Step 1 is select, do your math, do your research. Okay? Where to help, get help. Your brokers, your managers, your real estate lawyers, your local MLS data, your local appraisers, local lenders, local board surveys, data, statistics, graphs, things like that. Look for the look for the data, look for the people, the experts that can help you make a wise choice on your geographic farm, okay? Right? So look for that. I'll make one other mention. I would tend to stay away from a geographic farm that a local agent has about 30% or greater market share. And I'm thinking to myself, there's probably not anybody in your guys' marketplace that has at least a third of the business coming from one specific neighborhood area complex. Would that be a fair comment, that there's nobody with at least a third of the market in your area and there in your guys' trading areas?
Say it one more time, Wade.
So is there an agent that's generating or is basically in control of at least a third of the business in any demographic farm area in your guys' trading area? Is somebody that strong? No. Perfect.
No.
Yeah, it's going to be you guys. So the reality is, I guess, if somebody's got a stranglehold on a 30% or 33% of the market on a specific building complex or neighborhood or area, I would tend to stay away from that. I'm guessing that there's nobody in your marketplace, I'm assuming. So your areas in that are wide open for you where you're looking and researching, okay, and where you're trying to determine where you're going to go. Okay, so once we know where we're going, once we got all of that, now we got to figure out what we want to provide them. So you are going to look and you are going to provide and research what's going on there. So different statistics, different trends, different data, and you're trying to create as specifically the data for that specific farm area niche, okay? Make the data available to them through video, email, newsletters, postcards, flyers, websites, social media blogs, content, things like that. Make it readily available and target that demographic like you can target on Facebook, okay? That zip code or in that area, and that look at that and be able to make that information and make that what you're providing to them readily available, okay? Producing video content, blog content. Why that's important is that they'll get to experience whether they like you, whether they can trust you, whether you're somebody that they want to do business with it, and they can put a face to the name and be able to do those sort of things and get a sense for you, okay? Put video content with residents interviews, neighborhood interviews, people, places, business owners, the principals of schools, things like that. Like, expand your geographic farm of content in that and branch out to those other areas in your geographic farm. Think bigger than just there and think universally around there and other things. So if there's a local coffee shop, interview the coffee shop people and then drive people to their business. They're in turn going to be feeling that they need to do something for you in return. Interview the school principals, interview the mailman. Like, just think of areas and people in that you can add to the content to be able to create that increased perception that you're the expert on that specific market niche, okay? Attend school functions, local meetings, social events, garage sales, things like that, things that are happening in your geographic farm. Just be present and show up if you can, okay, on that regular basis. It's not good enough just to be the person mailing. You got to do more than just mailing, okay, and being involved and being active in that, okay? So figure out what the data is. So some of the things for the data, you guys, is listings, sales, expiries, absorption rates, list to sell ratios, days on market, sales per square foot, asking prices per square foot. You think of every specific little segmented statistic that you could possibly calculate for your specific geographic farm area, plus all the information about the amenities and everything else about the community and around the area and things like that, and just provide all that information for them and create that perception that you are the expert and you are the know-all and be-all of that geographic farm per area, and then put it out on all these different platforms. I know it's difficult because there's so many different platforms to communicate on, but the challenge today is that where are they going to see us? Where are they going to see us? How are they going to see us? So unfortunately, you're going to have to use all these different platforms because you just don't know which one they're going to be able to see you, recognize you, and be able to communicate with you on a daily and regular basis, okay?
Wade, a quick question. How many videos, and I mean, what's enough? Is it 2 a month, 4 a month?
1 a week max. Like for me, Jamil, I'm putting out content every Wednesday consistently, and that is more than enough to create a perception of expertise. Like, I'm always trying to put valuable content out once a week to my following and to my tribe, and that works. Like, it's once a week, guys, and the content is valuable content and things like that. So my pace would be, Jamil, once a week, and that's more than enough. You don't need to be putting in and inundating and making it difficult. If you have time to do it more than once a week, that's great. But I'm not talking every single day here. I'm talking minimum once a week, maybe twice a week, and mixing up the modality of the communication method and mixing up the messaging, okay? So
here's my question. Should the agents get ramped up with 4 to 6 so that way they always have an inventory of videos and they're not stressed to finish that video they just did?
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. So I'm usually putting together content, a couple weeks in advance. So my blog content, any video content, things like that, I'm putting that together 3-4 weeks in advance. You're exactly right. So that you're never behind and you're never too far ahead. You're feeling relaxed because you always got something in the hopper. Okay.
Right. Sorry, I have a question here, Lori.
I have a question. So we're always hearing about how we're supposed to do marketing, and what if we're not really good with marketing? What if we don't even know how to do a video? What if we don't even know how to market with a video or do a blog I mean, there's so many things that we're supposed to know how to do for marketing.
Yeah.
We're having to become experts at it, and it's overwhelming on where to even start with that.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So, like, give you an example of a video marketing. You could literally, like, say an agent in your marketplace just listed something in my geographic farm. So, say you just listed something in my geo farm. I'm literally going to call you and ask you if I could preview it. And then I'm going to ask you permission for me to video myself on Facebook Live right there on site and share that new listing to my tribe and to my geographic farm. And that's not difficult to be able to turn the camera in reverse and to say, hey, everybody, it's Wade here. I'm just at this brand new listing of so-and-sos, and it's in my area, and I'm excited to be able to share this to everybody in this area. It's a great listing. Let me just tour you around it and show you around it, and then I could do that on Facebook Live, or I could record it on my phone and then send it out. I'm going to tell you this. If it's polished, if it's too polished, people don't find it real and believable. If it's just raw and it's you, unplugged, unedited, authentic with your hair blowing in the wind and whatever else in that, they're going to like that content, and don't get caught up on whether it's perfect. Just get it caught up on it's out there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? We get caught up on thinking it has to be so perfect and so good versus just getting out there and just putting it out there and putting it up.
Okay, so basically, just do off the cuff videos.
Like that's
out there.
Thing. Any listing that comes in your geographic farm, pop out there. Hey, Jamil, would you mind me if I showcased on Facebook Live to all my tribe, all my peeps, your new listing in my farm area? What is Jamil gonna say? Yeah, go for it. What's the worst thing that's gonna happen? One of my peeps might want to buy Jamil's listing, and that, like, he's like, no problem, right? So, but I'm focusing on always stuff that's happening in my geographic farm area with permission. Okay, so another tool. This is another marketing tool. How many of us know about Market Snapshot? So this is Market Snapshot for a specific zip code, like a really simple tool that I could just snap, no pun intended, that I could screenshot and snap and send out and post to my geographic farm area on a regular basis, right? So real simple statistics, DOM, asking price, what's going on with sale prices, asking prices, and homes for sale and things like that. This is just a simple tool in that. Check out Market Snapshot. It's owned by Top Producer. Real simple tool to get you content in that you don't have to worry about pulling it all together. It's done for you, and then just throwing it out to your tribe and out to your geographic farm area. Okay, that's one tool. That Facebook Live tool and showcasing any listings and sales and that in your marketplace and using Facebook Live video, or just putting it on your phone and then just throwing it out there. That's another methodology and another way. And try focus on things that are simple and easy. Don't overcomplicate it, and don't worry about being perfect. Just do it and get it out there. And then it's believable, and people appreciate it and see who you are. Okay. This is having a website specifically for your farm area. I don't know if you've heard about this, but nextdoor.com. So now you have neighborhood websites created for your farm area. So I have my top solo agent in my office. He did 170,000 GCI last year with 3 geographic farms, and he has a newsletter and a website specifically for his geo farm. I'm going to show you a snapshot of his newsletter today. But we did 170,000 last year in GCI, and on 3 different complexes in 3 different farm areas. So I know it works. So here was the one idea here. Preview every listing in your farm area on the first day it's listed, and shoot content for it and throw it up there. Create a specific website for the owners of that neighborhood and you can check out nextdoor.com. Again, another way of putting out information and not reinventing the wheel, and you providing yourself and increasing your perception that you're an expert. Okay? And I've got lots of ideas here, and I'll share the slide decks with you guys, and there's tons of ideas so that you're not out there trying to struggle and reinvent the wheel on where to find your content, what to put together, and how to put it together.
So Wade, are you saying that if we find an area like, brooklinehomes.com,
yep,
and all the Brookline homes come up, add those listings to that and market it?
Correct. So this website will be able to grab that for you with Nextdoor and do that. And so I would put like livinginbrookline.com, or like making it a lifestyle domain name, Jamil, versus a real estate domain name. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So it would be like brooklineliving.com or livinginbrookline.com or something like that. So like my top solo agent uses ownthecove.com or owninthecove.com. It's a complex called The Cove. He has owninthecove.com. So he's making his domain more lifestyle oriented, not real estate specific oriented, and everything and anything that happens, listings, sales, statistics, events, anything like that, it's all on his website specifically about that complex and about that geographic farm area.
And how do you get the content for that? Like that you don't have to do so much work.
Off the MLS system.
So you have to do all the manual work, though.
And he's only doing that. He's only doing a newsletter once every 3 months, Jamil. He's only changing his content on his website once a month. So it's only like an hour of work once a month or once every 3 months, right? It's not a lot of work, and he's not changing it up like every single day.
Okay.
Okay. So let me give you a little example of a schedule. So like this week, I'm going to do a just listed video and send out a buyer. I have a buyer postcard. Next week, my newsletter goes out for my Geo Farm. The next week, the statistics for my Geo Farm go out, and then the next week after that, I put out a just sold, or I invite them to an open house and that. Like the frequency is like a couple of touches, right, a month kind of thing, and you're just changing up the methodology and the modality and the messaging, right? So I've got it just listed, and it might not even be my own listing in my own farm area. And then I might have a newsletter for my farm area. Is that, again, that's only going out once every 3 months. I've got statistics going out maybe once a month on the third week, and then I've got some just solds or an open house in my farm area and that. And just, it's, the pace is not horrendous. It's, you know, one per week kind of thing, or a couple per month. Okay?
Yeah.
All right? Now,
Got it.
this is our mailing. So you can go to a website called geographicfarm.com. Here's your postcards, here's your flyers, here's your template pieces, here's all your mailing pieces. You can do it yourself, or you can have somebody do it for you, okay? So I'm going to tell you this. The shift in mail now is, don't send pizza flyer mail anymore where you're sending it every week or every 2 weeks. It's finding the addresses and finding the names of the residences over a period of time and personally mailing them versus unaddressed flyer and junk mailing them. Does that make sense to you guys? There's the shift. We're getting tremendous more success from personally mailing them on a 90-day basis than we are flyering the heck out of the farm area every 2 weeks, like the Chinese delivery flyer or the pizza delivery flyer. We're having more success doing quality and not quantity. That's where the geographic farm shift has taken place in today's day and age. Where does the flyer go? In the blue recycling bin. Where does my personal mail piecing go? It gets opened up and they pour themselves a glass of wine and it gets read. See the big fundamental change there and the difference between personal mail and pizza flyer mail? Does everybody make sense to them?
So no postcards that you...
You can do that, but they're not working as well unless they're followed up in person. Okay? Just being honest. The personally mailing piece, I'm going to show you what we're mailing them personally. I'm going to show you examples of it, but this is the unaddressed old school version. You're going to have to modify it and do more personal mail than the unaddressed mail. Unaddressed mail is not working anymore. It's going into the blue recycling bins, and it's not making the impact as a personal mailed piece is versus this piece. Okay, I'm just being honest with you because I'm coaching people and they're telling me that personal mail piece is working way better. And even if they don't have the residences' names, they'll put like Deer Cove homeowner and until they get the name, until they find the names, and they might pull title or they might do things to get those names. That's working, just putting in like Deer Cove homeowner and sending their personal mailing pieces than the unaddressed pizza flyer stuff that we used to be told. Okay?
I have a question.
Please.
It is okay to put the name of the owner and also put or current resident?
If you've actually got permission or captured it or paid for getting it. So how we do it, great question, we'll pull title, and if we've pulled and paid to get that name, we'll put that name down, right? So we won't put that, we don't want to use a source that we want to get caught using people's personal contact information that's going to get us in trouble. So you're going to have to do some research, or you're going to have to try and work on collecting it and making sure that you're not trying to solicit that people that are not wanting to solicit, if that makes sense. So we're pulling title and putting names that way, or we're not even pulling title and putting names. We're just putting dear so-and-so homeowner of that complex, and that's working just as effectively as well.
Yeah, but for example, when you put the label on the envelope, personal envelope, first class mail. My record says the name of the owner, and also the second line say or current residents.
Either
Make it less personal. So probably would be a good idea to take it off. What's your opinion about?
Yeah, so the name is better than just putting on the Cove homeowner, right? Or Deer homeowner. The name is better, but you have to go about getting the name properly and legally, right? In that particular case. So their personal name, first and last, is best. If you don't have it, here's what I'm just going to tell you. Don't not mail because you don't have their name. Send it out and just put, hey, so-and-so homeowner, the neighborhood homeowner, and put that on there. And the homeowner will open that packet, open that envelope, just like if their first and last name was on there. So you're working at collecting those names and adding those names legally over time, but don't hold off doing this because you don't have the name and the first and last name of all the mailings. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Don't get hung up on the name. Send it. It works even without their first and last names. It works better with their first and last names, but don't hold yourself back from sending it because you don't have names yet. Okay, just get out there and do it. So here's an example of my top solo agent's website, right? Own the Cove. This is an example of his website. You can go on there, see examples of that. His website also matches his mailing piece. So here is his mailing piece that we do every 90 days, and an example of his mailing piece, which mirrors his website. So his website, guys, is only a $500 WordPress website a year, and allows him to customize and build it and add it on there. And his newsletter, seriously, he collects all this, has a graphic designer put together. This costs him 45 cents to print in full color on a good quality piece of paper, and it cost him a little over $1 to mail. He mails this every 90 days and always constantly drives them through Facebook ads and things like that to his farm website. And he changes the website content once a month, and he sends this out every 90 days. Okay? And I love this. This is another agent of mine that's working it. And here's an example of how I love his data for his Geo Farm. This is a condo complex. This is a condo complex that they're marketing and farming. And he did Geo. You see how he does the infographics? So easy to read, so simple to do it. And he broke down every statistic and every piece of information into an infographic. And I love this form of newsletter because it's simple in that. And again, this just goes out every 90 days. Versus
Nice.
pizza flyering them every 2 weeks like we've been told old school. Now, this guy here, guys, just does 3 complexes and does almost 200 grand a year. So it's working. And he's only mailing every 90 days and has a website up, and it's working. It's working. It's working. And it's the personally mailing them versus pizza flyer mailing them that's changed it. Now, he pulled title and paid to get their names, and so that's how he's gone that and put that investment in. But there are other people like this gentleman that are just sending it to Eagle View homeowner on the label on the envelope. It says Eagle View homeowner, and he's had success. His first mailer, a couple listings and a couple listing appointments on the very first mailer. Okay, because no one's done this, and all you're trying to create a perception is that you know everything and anything about that specific complex, and if they're thinking about selling, they're going to call you because this data and this information looks really, really thorough and looks really, really good, and you look like you know everything and anything about the complex, so they will call. They will call. All right, so that's the mailing pieces, that's the website, all matches, all blends in together, okay? We talked about direct mail versus unaddressed, so personally mailing your Geo Farm every 90 days, it gets open, it gets read, it doesn't go to the recycling bin. Personal mail is something old is new again, and we don't get personal mail. That's why it's so powerful, and that's why it's so more effective than the pizza mail and the pizza flyer, right? Any questions, any comments, any concerns? So video content, interviews, businesses, services, teachers, principals, like expand your horizon on your Geo Farm, data and specific statistics and data and things like that, infographic version or simple listing versions like this, mailing out, website to back up your perception that you're the go-to person in that. You can use these mailing piece cards in that. You can have your own website for your farm area or build one like this person did here on your own. You have different ideas for videoing that. You can use the market snapshot tool to help you put out content and information in that. There's just so many different things you can present and put out there, and in different ways, shapes, and forms. Mix up your message, mix up your modality and the methodology of your communicating in that. And I can tell you this, that over a period of time, lots and lots of my coaching clients are having a tremendous amount of success and production, being the expert in using this technology of geographic farming and this activity of geographic farm. Everybody find that helpful? Any questions? Any other things that I can answer for you guys before we go today?
I think we're good. Thanks, Wade. That was really good.
Awesome, you guys. All right, so first things first, do your research, identify turnover rate, then collect all the info that you need to share out there with your people, put together a simple plan, right? Mailing a letter like this, building a website and that. Don't get caught up because you don't have their first and last names in your GeoFarm yet. Get it out there. Just put homeowner on the envelope and get it out there. People are doing it and just getting it going, and then tweaking it and fine-tuning and putting names on it and tweaking and adding it over. I mean, this guy in 3 complexes in 3 years doing almost 200 G and started at 1 complex. Here's another thing. 1 complex at a time until that complex is making you money and it's working and you got it dialed in. Then add another farm after the first farm is working and firing and making you money. Does that make sense? And then first farm successful, finance your second farm and then your third farm. And then you're just rolling.
Right. All right. Thank you, Wade.
Awesome, you
Can
guys.
you send the slide deck out?
I'll send you everything. Have a fantastic week, you guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll chat with you guys tomorrow. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Hey, guys. Bye for now.